Alright guys, welcome back to Boosted Budget Builds. I am now going to show you how I'm burning the rubber out of the, the wind. Out of the rear trailer arm bushings. I'll show you how I got it set up. Be right back. Alright guys, as you can see, I've just got a little propane, like plumber's torch. I got it set up on one of these metal drive-on ramps and just burning them out. That one over there, as you can see, it's actually caught on fire and is just burning all by itself. Ugh. Sorry, had to step back a little bit. But yeah, do this outside, away from, as much of the fumes as possible, because it's not good for you. But yeah, once these get burned down enough to where I can start chiseling them out, I'll cut back and I'll show you guys how to do that. See you in a minute. All right, guys. As you can see, I hope it's kind of hard to do one-handed. But I'm hoping you can see that this stuff is just peeling right off now. And that's what happens. Bam. Sorry. That smoke's horrible. That's what happens once they get hot enough. They just fall apart. All the rubber just peels right on off of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cleaned up as much as I can. And then I'll be right back. Okay, guys. I wanted to show you this. They're still burning by themselves without any, without the torch or anything. But now I have not touched this. Okay, this is the way it was. You get it in the picture here. Oh, look at this. Here's one of the metal plates. If you can get a pair of pliers. There's one of the metal plates, and you see how easy that comes out. All this is just going to fall out. See? You see that? All this stuff here, all you got to do is just kind of push on it, and it'll just charcoal out. I mean, it's just super easy. Look at this. Here, see if I can get a hold of this. See that? Sorry, it's kind of hard to camera both at the same time. You see that big chunk of rubber? It just falls right on out. Now, here's a warning. If you guys can see that there? See this? All this black shit? Okay, it's rubber. Once rubber catches on fire, it's gonna stay burning. Make sure you do this in a safe place. Okay? Concrete floor, gravel driveway, away from anything that's gonna catch fire. I know there's a few leaves and shit back here, but I mean, it's kind of wet out because it's been snowing and stuff. But again, this is really simple. I didn't think the little plumber's torch was going to do it, but it did. So, and this shit burned out to where I didn't have to do hardly anything. It just like fell out. This right here is what the cylinders look like. I have not cleaned this off. All I did was just kind of push on it, and the rubber pieces just fell off and just disintegrated. So, I mean, I'm going to take a wire brush to them, maybe some fine sandpaper, and clean them up. And once I get all these cleaned up, I will get back to you. Hey guys, welcome back to Boosted Budget Builds. I'm Grizz as always. And I wanted to show you a bench way of cleaning your trailing arm bushings. I got to thinking, not everybody has one of the, a nice bench grinder that has the wire wheel and all that. So I was bored. It's raining. None of my parts came in yet, so I figured, what the hell? I'll show you guys how to do it the hard way, in case you don't have all the fancy stuff. So basically, this is what I'm using. I got a wire brush. I've got the scour pads like I've showed you before. I'll show you the box real quick just in case you guys for some reason, I haven't watched my older videos, but this is them here. Get them from Dollar Tree, get 5 of them for $1. Awesome stuff. They clean up. They're just like a Scotch-Brite. Work awesome. They're not as long-lasting as a Scotch-Brite. They kind of, as you can see, they get flimsy and whatnot. But then whenever they get small, you can get into tight places. So, but anyway, and then I am using 2000 grit 3M, and what I found out, I'll show you. This I haven't sanded or nothing yet, but if you can see, this is exactly how I picked them up off the after they got done burning, and I just kind of knocked some of the pieces out of them with the screwdriver. So this one has not been cleaned at all yet. As you can see, it still has a lot of the soot on it from burning. Here's one of these that has not been cleaned yet. Still has a soot. A couple little pieces of rubber left. But now this one here, you might be able to see, all I've done with this is hit it with one of the green Scotch-Brite pads I got here. Or scouring pads, whatever you want to call it. So I haven't really cleaned it up very much. And then this here, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but right before I started doing this video, I hit it with that 2000 grit because I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to be heavy enough grit, you know, to clean some of the scarring and stuff off these, because, yeah, these are old. Looks like these things have been beat up before, or maybe it was just because the bushing was completely shot. Hell, I don't know. But anyway, so there's that. And let me flip. Oh, and then for a liquid, I'm just using this LA Awesome. You get these bottles from Dollar Tree also. They're $1 a bottle. The shit is like amazing. Try it. I mean, but yeah. Oh, and I got a flathead screwdriver for the case there's little bitty pieces of chunks of rubber. Or you might even see me using a pair of needle nose. But yeah, that's about it. So let me pause this and I'll flip you around and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Alright guys, give you a better view of what I'm doing. Okay, so what I did is I took a new scour pad because they kind of crush, so you can get, whenever I was cleaning it off with just a scour pad, you can see that it kind of creates this divot. Maybe you guys can see it, I hope. Yeah, you can see it on there. So, kind of creates a little valley there. And so I took it and I was using the scour pad, and I got all the gunk pretty much cleaned off. Then I went and I took a piece of this 2000 grit and I laid it on top, gave it just a little spritz. It's because this is a wet or dry sandpaper, but it works better wet. And then you just lay it in that groove. And you just work it back and forth. Hopefully you guys can see it alright. My wife has my, well, it's actually hers, has the tripod, so I'm making a shop lamp work. But you just work it back and forth, and hopefully it'll smooth out that the metal here where the the bushing's actually going to sit. So, and that's what I've been doing, just going back. And this is more of a polish. This isn't sanding or cleaning. I mean, it is cleaning it, but it's more of a polish because you want that surface where the bushing is going to ride. You want it nice and smooth as possible. You don't want a lot of pits or, you know, rust or nothing else like that, because it'll tear up that polyurethane bushing prematurely. So you've seen, let me give this a spritz so that way I can clean it a little bit. You've seen I didn't do very much polishing per se at all. Clean this off a little bit. I know I can tell you just by touching it. before cleaning it off, you can tell. Alright guys, sorry, the camera issues. But as you can see, hopefully, big difference. This one hasn't been touched other than just raking what was left of the crusty rubber off. And this one I spent maybe 2 minutes cleaning with a scour pad and then sanding, or polishing with the 2000 grit. I think I'm going to polish a little bit more on here, try to get some of that discoloration and maybe some of the pits, like right there. I'm not sure what those pits are from. There's a few scratches. But yeah, so I'm going to work on that a little bit more. And just remember, don't use a very aggressive grit on these. I mean, these things are clearance to where they're the right size for the bushing. And if you take very much of the metal away, which I'm not really doing, I'm just trying to polish, it could cause it to be a little bit sloppy in the bushing, which is, you don't want that to happen. So yeah, just be careful. You know, use a high grit like I did, or even just a scouring pad by itself was doing a really good job. But these need a little bit more love than just a scour pad. So I'm gonna get going on the polishing a little bit more, and then once I get it to my satisfactory, I'll show them to you. Alright guys, make sure we're recording. Okay. Alright guys, welcome back. Alright. I've been cleaning up both of these. Here's the one that I've polished with the 2000 grit. Yeah. And then here's the one that I just used the Scotch-Brite pad with. I'm hoping you can see the difference. In person, you can definitely tell the difference. I mean, there's not a huge difference, but like on just the Scotch-Brite, you can actually feel more of the scratches. It's kind of like scratches in paint. The difference between a scratch you can catch your fingernail in and a scratch you can't. That's kind of the difference here. Easiest way I can explain it. So, this one's been polished. This one with the 2000 grit. This one's just been with the Scotch-Brite. Now, the one with just the Scotch-Brite, I'm sure will work just fine. Mine's just a little bit more beat up than some of the other ones I've seen before. So, I want to go ahead and clean them up a little bit better. So, now, in case you're asking all this shit on the ends here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the bushing area off, and then I'm going to take these to a wire wheel and clean up these, and then put a nice shot of paint on just this part. I'm going to leave the actual bushing surface polished. So in case you guys were wondering, I mean, I don't have to, but you know, I'm going to. That's just the way I do stuff. So but I was going to show you on this other one really quick. All I do is, if you see, I've got a groove. So you can see it just kind of sits in that groove. And what I did is I smushed that groove in a dry Scotch-Brite. Now, whenever I was cleaning this with the Scotch-Brite, here's the one I was cleaning it with. This is wet, okay? Sandpaper and everything, I always say cuts better and cleaner when it's wet. So, same thing with Scotch-Brite, okay? I cleaned this one up. This is the one that was completely gunked up, I think. Or maybe it was the other one, I don't remember. But anyway, one of them was completely gunked up. And I cleaned it up with just this LA Awesome stuff on a Scotch-Brite and, you know, elbow grease. So, once you get done with the wet part, then you move to a new Scotch-Brite that's dry. Get that crease in there. And then you're going to set your sandpaper on top, a little spritz, and then you're going to get it in that groove. I want to make sure you guys can see this really well. And it don't take much. This is a polish, okay? You're not trying to grind anything away. So you're just going back and forth. Well, there we go. just back and forth, and you just slowly rotate the rod as you go. Hopefully you guys can see this good enough. And you just slowly rotate as you go. And you do this for, I don't know, I probably did it a couple minutes. You know, you don't put a lot of effort into it. I will show you, if you guys remember these. These are the trailing arm bushings. These are the pins. Here are the collars, as I call them. I had them really clean. There's a little bit of surface rust on the inside of them, which isn't going to hurt anything. It's just from, I just did this yesterday, so. Here's the parts from taking the hub assemblies off the trailing arms. Here's all the bolts cleaned up nicely. I used a wire wheel on all those. Cleaned up the pins for the front knuckles. These caps for the front knuckles. I didn't get the front knuckles done just yet. I'm going to have to go back to the other shop and clean those up with a sandblaster. In case you guys forgot, the rear toe adjustment arms on the back that connect to this here, on this part here on the trailing arm, remember how they were seized inside the body? I replaced, or they they warrantied out the old impact, and the new impact finally got it off. I had to go back and forth, back and forth. One of them came completely out, the other one not so much. I've actually got to cut the bolt because the bushing, the steel sleeve inside the bushing seized the bolt, so I'm going to have to cut the bolt apart, and then I'm going to have to source some new bolts. But anyway, guys, that's what's going on. I'm going to clean these up, get ready to shoot some paint, and once everything's cleaned up, I'll come back and show you guys the finished process. I'll see you then.